Are we seeing the downfall of Airbnb? I sure hope so.
You want to get out and pay. You don't want to pay.
Well, no, we don't want to pay because these are hidden charges. We shouldn't be paying hidden charges.
So even though they left it in good shape, just because of the text from the neighbor, I am going to be leaving them less than 5 stars.
I'm gonna be honest, is a bit entitled and delusional. So today we're taking a look at Airbnbs. How something that started as an absolutely wonderful alternative to overpriced hotels has turned into something that people are completely done with. We've got hosts with laundry lists of rules, properties that look nothing like the photos, and customer service responses that seem so bad you might think they might actually be evil. And I'll warn you, it builds as it goes, so buckle in, let's get into the video.
House rules probably says that everything's zip tied. Nope, can't use that. What the? Can't use that. Oh. Lauren. She's really, really worried we're gonna steal her jewelry.
No, but what's in there?
A little purse.
Nope. Oh my gosh, no. Is somebody down here? I'm sweating. I'm getting weird energy.
It's locked too. Everything is locked.
This is huge. Let's see what's back here.
Is that the garage? I think
There's cars in here.
I think she said she does.
I hope this is just a skit because could you imagine you book an Airbnb, you see how beautiful it is. It looks like a nice home, right? But they lock up everything. The closest I've had to this situation is when, now the onus is on me. Okay, this is all my fault. I did not read the Airbnb booking when I was booking for 3 people in South Korea. And I just sort of skimmed over it and it said if you have 1 person, then only 1 room is going to be open. If you have 2 people, only 1 room is going to be open. But there are like, you know, separate twin beds that are just like on the ground, not even raised, but maybe that's a different sort of style, of course, in Asia. And then if you have 3 people, there are 2 rooms open. So you have the 3 beds. There were 3 rooms. I saw the 3 rooms, so I'm like, okay, we're each going to have our own room. No. That was absolutely ridiculous. So that was on me for not reading thoroughly, but this, I don't think that was in the actual description.
Are we seeing the downfall of Airbnb? I sure hope so. And I saw this girl come on here and ask that question, and she was talking about how she owns a cabin, and I want to say it's the Smoky Mountains, and how it used to say booked like 85 to 95% of the time, and now it's barely getting any reservations. And she came on here and she was genuinely asking people like, why aren't you booking Airbnbs anymore? And I was like, oh, I think I can answer that. Because I've talked about this before on my page, and I used to love booking an Airbnb, right? Like late 2010s, early 2020s, my college era. It was so easy. You and a couple of friends could split a whole house. It was cheap. It was super, super fun. And the expectations were really simple. It was like, take out the trash, don't leave it disgusting. Fair enough, fair enough. But it's just not like that anymore, is it? Now Airbnbs are the same price as hotels, if not more. And with a hotel, you're getting actual service. Like you don't have to clean, you don't have to strip the beds and start the laundry, take out the trash and load the dishwasher, and take a picture of the thermostat before you leave. Like there's a whole checklist. I don't clean that much at my own house. Like be so serious. Why am I paying a cleaning fee and then also being told I need to clean? And I don't care what anybody says. I love hotel amenities. I do. I want the fresh towels. Like I want the toiletries, like especially on a beach trip, when you're washing your hair every single day. I'm not trying to use my $50 shampoo every single day. Get me the little hotel bottles. Let a girl live. And on top of that, is it just me or do Airbnbs just feel riskier now? They do. Like you're constantly hearing stories about hidden cameras, weird hosts showing up unannounced. Like from a woman's perspective, it just doesn't feel as safe as it used to. And as a matter of fact, don't even get me started on the hosts. A couple years back, I literally booked an Airbnb for a music festival. Like it had to be at least 6 months in advance because I knew it was going to be hard to find something as it got like closer to the festival. And then a week or 2 before, the host messages me saying like they didn't realize there was a music festival and they could have charged more. And they asked me to cancel. But don't worry, they told me I could rebook at a higher price. Excuse me. And when I said no, suddenly there were unforeseen renovations and my reservation got canceled.
So our guests were supposed to check out at 10 o'clock this morning. It's currently 10:55. They're still at the house. I did send them a message around 10:25 saying, hey, just a reminder, checkout was at 10. The fact that it's 11 o'clock makes me wonder if they just got the time confused. Maybe they thought that this was 11 a.m. checkout. I don't know. I'm just going to go with that. The guest never read my message, so I'm wondering if she'll read it later and message me. And at that point, I will give you guys an update.
All right, so I understand, you know, people have a lot of discourse with checkout times, you know, people not understanding that people need to clean before the next guest comes in. Sometimes I'm one of those people where, especially if it's a hotel where they have a little bit more money to spend, like you really can't just have checkout be at noon or 1. But again, I know there's probably some people who clean at hotels who are like, girl, shut up. Don't add more nonsense to my plate, because You do need to, turn over the room in a decent amount of time. And I know it is really difficult to do that sort of job, so I understand. But 10 a.m. checkout, that seems like a little too early for me. I've been staying in Airbnbs for the last 6 months, and most of my checkout times have been at 11, which I think is a reasonable time. Would I prefer noon? Sure, but whatever. Is what it is. But 10 a.m. is kind of early. If you're having me and maybe it's because I'm a night owl, but if you're having me check out or wake up at a single digit hour, such as between 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm probably still sleeping. I don't know what my issue is, but whatever it is.
It was under 20 degrees last night, and these guys left the hot tub open for the whole night.
It's at 76.
So hopefully it's able to heat up again for the next guest.
And that's so annoying. Why is there like tissues? Oh, gross. Oh, it smells like weed. Oh my god, can you see how smoky it is in here? They definitely tried to cover it up with this awful scent. It would have been better if this wasn't sprayed.
After leaving the windows open all day, the smell is very much still here. We have guests checking in tomorrow. I'm a little worried about it still smelling. I looked up online that if you put bowls of baking soda out, it can trap some of the odor. So I'm just gonna try this and I will update you tomorrow.
It's strongest in the bathroom, so we're definitely putting one here. Honestly, I'm gonna put 2. We'll just leave one out here.
All right, pro tip, well, one, okay, let's get to the hot tub area. Shouldn't you be draining your hot tub before every guest due to hygiene issues? Or am I making things up? I understand it's probably chlorinated or there's some sort of chemicals in there for bacteria and such, but shouldn't you be draining it and then refilling it for your next guest? Okay, and then, in order to get rid of that smell, vinegar. Don't ask how I know. Vinegar, have bowls of vinegar out. And that just works for any sort of smells, okay? Just have vinegar out, especially if you're cooking, just in general, like on the stovetop.
Today we got some negative feedback in a review from our Airbnb guests. They actually said it so kindly though, and they said everything privately, which I really appreciated. The review basically said that they didn't have enough lighting in the living room and they didn't have anywhere to set down their luggage in the master bedroom. I actually love receiving this kind of feedback because even though I've stayed at my own Airbnb, those are things that I didn't notice. So I just ordered these for the bedroom, and I'm looking for some kind of bench, potentially with storage to put at the foot of the bed. I'm looking for either a brighter lamp or a second lamp to add to the living room, and that should make things more comfortable for my guests going forward.
See, we love when people are self-aware and can actually take criticism or more reasonably feedback from their guests. For example, I have had to leave feedback for some Airbnbs. I'm not going to honestly give you a 5-star, and let me know if you feel this way. Or maybe I'm just a little bit more picky since I've been in a bunch of Airbnbs at this point. But if you have a washer for me, please provide the actual laundry detergent, because what is the point of me buying laundry detergent? I'm not going to be able to use all of it. Laundry detergent, especially here in like Albania, it costs like $4. Just get a box of that for your guests. It's not really that difficult. And you could say, well, all those costs add up. Well, then you're just going to get 4 stars rather than a coveted 5 stars. If you're not going to do 5-star work, put in the work, have feedback. I was actually reading the reviews for this place and they're like, yeah, the shower, it didn't come with a curtain or anything. I know Americans like to clown Europeans. Yes, I'm gonna use the general term Europeans. I understand it's different in everyone else's country. A conglomerate of different countries make up Europe. I understand. You can see in a lot of different European countries that for some reason they don't have a curtain, or the curtain's really bad, or it's just that half glass panel. Maybe for you it's the enclosure. That's what they created the new setup, because there was nothing preventing the water from spilling out onto the floor. And you could see, maybe I'll insert some pictures here where there's like rot from when there was no sort of curtain in the bathroom here, but now it's nicely enclosed and you feel warm while you're taking a shower.
You didn't think I was gonna see this, did you? Well, I see everything. I'm the owner. I've got that place covered in Ring cameras, okay? Your little dance was funny though, especially for me, as I'm laughing on the way to the bank and all the extra guest fees I'm gonna charge you.
Like, I know this is satire by @BasicSuburbanMom, but I always think it's so weird how there's a lot of cameras on the property. I understand maybe the basic Ring doorbell camera, which I'm not a big fan of having like a third party watching everything for you, but I guess that's how, some killers get caught. See Chris Watts, just like an invasion of privacy. Or when they're like, yeah, we have cameras in the living room. Would you stay at a place that has cameras in a living room? Well, we don't have it in like the intimate areas. If I'm staying somewhere, I'm like, you know, walking around while I'm getting dressed, okay, you might see some of my intimate areas, like, hold up here. So if there's like cameras, if there are hidden cameras, clearly I can't see them, but like if there's genuinely a camera there, no, like get out of my face, 1 star.
I already know that I'm not going to be leaving them a 5-star review, so I don't have high hope. Living room looks good. The reason I know I'm not going to be leaving them a 5-star review is because our neighbors texted us this morning saying that these guests were driving around the neighborhood really loud and like racing in their cars and stuff, and it was disrupting the neighborhood. And number 2, they were smoking outside, not cigarettes, if you were catching my drift. He said it was so strong that he couldn't let his son go outside. And these neighbors are super chill. If he says it's bad, I trust that it's bad. So far, it's actually looking cleaner than I was anticipating. Office looks good. Found this under one of the beds upstairs. I hear a dripping noise and I'm not sure where it's coming from. There were 8 guests, so I was also expecting it to be pretty messy just because of that. And they had no reviews, but they actually left it like in pretty good shape. I don't know where that dripping noise is coming from. So even though they left it in good shape, just because of the text from the neighbor and them breaking our house rule of no smoking, especially something illegal, I am going to be leaving them less than 5 stars.
No smoking outside is pretty right, like, okay, no smoking inside of the house completely makes sense, perfectly fine. You do not want smells lingering. You don't want the tar to build up eventually from cigarettes, but not smoking outside, baby, be so for real. That's exactly where people should be smoking, is outside. I'd be livid as a guest if you left a bad review over things allegedly that I did outside of the house that you didn't even witness. The neighbors are definitely not chill. 8 guests and they left the house looking like that, girl, be so for real. If there are 8 guests and they leave the house looking like that, we have seen some really bad, you know, we saw the smashed up TVs, right? That would be a blessing. I would be so happy with that. Clearly this person, I'm gonna be honest, is a bit entitled and delusional. If you're enjoying content like this thus far, I post 2 times a week. So if you're enjoying content like this, subscribe. Let's get back into the video.
I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm proud of where I've been. I'm proud of where I'm going. I'm proud of where.
Hey, so that's how you get sued. And this is why I stay in hotels and not Airbnbs. She willingly uploads a video of her mixing 2 different types of body wash in the name of frugality, bragging that she's an Airbnb host who just reuses body wash and mixes them together. Which first off is against Airbnb's terms and conditions, because as the Airbnb owner, you have to let other people know what they're putting on their bodies. So your little disclaimer of we reduce and reuse is not enough, because there's no way of knowing unless you give a full detailed ingredient list whether someone is allergic to ingredients in one or both of these body washes, and they wouldn't even know that one was mixed in. And she doesn't care. Based on all of her responses in the comments, she still thinks she's cracked the code on how to save money. And then there's all the weirdos in her comment section being like, well, if you don't want to use mystery body wash, bring your own. Which, like, sure, most people do. But if they see a bottle of body wash in the shower, they should be able to read those ingredients and feel confident that's the only thing in the bottle. Because people absolutely have the right to know what they're putting on their own skin.
That would be obnoxious. Now, as someone without allergies, I never have to worry about that. But if you have allergies, would this upset you? Would something, say if you're allergic to nuts and there's like almond in the soap, would that cause you to go into anaphylactic shock? Like, would that cause an allergic reaction for you? That's horrible. That's actually really terrifying to think of. I hope that does not happen to you guys out there.
I rented my house out on Airbnb and this is what happened. 29th of January, I got a same day booking request. I was super excited because I actually needed the money, but this is what happened. You can see they started damaging a lot of stuff, took some of my cushions, threw my router down, my home security and my Amazon Alexa, broke my TV screen, punched holes in the walls, broke my shelf, broke my table, bought a new one and chairs. As you can see, there's still tags on them. Ruined all the carpet, stole my comforter, replaced my sheets, broke my shower caddy and poured bleach down this tub, and I just got this refinished and I have to redo it all over again. Poked hella holes into my doors, scratched up my walls, got blood on the carpet, so I have to replace that as well. Took all my towels and sheets for each bedroom. Broke more than half my glasses, more than half my coffee mugs and my wine glasses, and then bought these and replaced them. Broke my cabinet. Put random ass food in here. Dumped bags of cake. Yes, bags of cake in here and open food. And guess what? More cake. Stole half my silverware. Don't know where it's at. Pots and pans also gone. Threw bones and a lot of other stuff down the sink. And guess what? Now there's water that stopped up here, so I have to call a plumber. Like and follow for part 2 because it gets even.
That is a diabolical state to leave an Airbnb in. I'm not saying you need to, thoroughly clean the Airbnb. Just leave it in a decent condition. I guess at least they bought another table and chairs for him. But there's blood, there's everything's smashed up. They took cushions from a couch. That is definitely a nightmare, and I would not be surprised if he tried to go to a sort of small claims court, or maybe even more, considering that big old TV that he had was smashed up. Don't know how much that cost, probably a pretty penny. I know we were looking at some bad Airbnb hosts, but sometimes you really have to give it to the Airbnb host because this is diabolical to do.
You want to get out and pay, you don't want to pay
Well,
your way.
no, we don't want to pay because these are hidden charges. We shouldn't be paying hidden charges. You didn't tell us about them.
We booked a holiday away in a lovely Airbnb. We took the kids. It was lovely. We walked in, it was near the lake and it was beautiful. And then we went in there and there were chocolates on the pillows and everything. All the fridges were stocked and everything. So obviously we had a lovely weekend. So obviously we're drinking Prosecco and everything like that. But then we get home. It's been about 2 weeks since we've been. We get home and an email comes through and we've been charged for everything we've eaten.
Hello, Amy's Cottage, Amy speaking.
We just had an email from you, and we're just kind of shocked. Like, you've charged us a bunch of stuff for things that, I mean, first of all, are really overpriced, and second of all, I don't know why they're being charged for such small things.
There was a full bottle of champagne and it has been drunk, so who you suggested has drunk it? It's just standard practice, I'm afraid.
It's not. We've stayed.
Sorry. I thought it was nice of me to do that for you.
But in essence,
now you've been so ungrateful you don't
Ungrateful. We didn't know anything about it.
Look, you just threw me, alright?
Fine. We'll see you then. We'll see you soon.
I run an Airbnb. Everything I don't want guests to use is locked away. Anything else in the house is fair game and for guest use. She's wrong for not at least telling you the stuff is chargeable. Yeah, I completely agree there. And I always find it a little weird. Like, I understand if it's a big house that sometimes there's gonna be stuff locked away. But if there's a lot of locked drawers, like this place that I'm in, there's nothing locked. I can just open any old drawer and utilize it as best as I can. But it's just, get a storage locker if you don't want people to be using something. I always think it's weird when people lock away cleaning supplies, because isn't that the one thing you would want them to use is cleaning supplies? Like, say you spilled something that could stain, right? Wouldn't you want them to use the cleaning supplies? Are you really gonna have them buy cleaning supplies? Some people aren't gonna go all the way with something. They just might half ASS it, right? Because they don't wanna go out and purchase something to clean up your property. Not everyone is going to respect your property like that, and they're certainly not going to inconvenience themselves to make it right. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's just kind of how some people are. Unless it's labeled as being for sale, I assume it to be complimentary. That's typically what I assume too. However, yeah, even in hotels, when you go to open the mini fridge, it'll typically have either on the fridge or on the table or even inside the fridge, like, hey, this is how much the prices are for a Red Bull or water or something like that.
I just found out that our Airbnb guest spent the whole entire night in her car with her little dog. Let's talk about it. We just had our first ever hosting nightmare for our in-home Airbnb. We had one guest and one dog scheduled to stay the night last night, and we don't even usually interact with our guests, but we actually did meet this guest in passing, and she was super nice. She did, however, have an issue getting into the door with our door code, which we've never had an issue with before, but she said it wasn't working for her, so we went ahead and unlocked the door for her and sent her the check-in instructions again. She acted like everything was working great, and I didn't double check to see that she'd actually used the code to make sure it worked. She left for the evening, everything was great, we went to bed, but I woke up in the morning and I saw some messages in the Airbnb app, and my heart dropped. The code was not working for her again when she got in late last night, and she was not able to get into the Airbnb, so she spent the night in her car with her dog, which was heartbreaking, and I ran down there first thing this morning to check on her and see if I could get her in, and sure enough, the code was not working. I still haven't figured out what went wrong. We set the code just like we always do, and she was so gracious and so kind, and she said multiple times we did not need to refund her, but this was not her fault at all, and so we actually gave her a full refund for the night that she was here. She was able to come in early in the morning and get some rest. I am fully expecting less than 5 stars for this review, which is really disappointing, and we're going to have to figure out something so that we make sure this never happens again. Typically, one of us is up late in the night, so we would have seen the messages, but both of us went early. So it was the perfect storm. I really care about the guest experience, so I'm super bummed this happened, but she was so kind about it.
Oh, what a nightmare scenario. At least she had a car to sleep in with her dog. Imagine if she was just taking public transportation, which this sounds like an American woman or, you know, Canadian. We don't really have that good of public transport. And if it's in a house, you can bet your bottom dollar that no one's using public transport. It's really sad here. Like, what a good response by the Airbnb host to give a full refund for that night at least. Because if she didn't, I would fully give her a 1 star. Like, you need to have your codes working. This is why I always prefer to have a physical key when I do Airbnb. I don't like having codes because, you know, there could be blackouts, your generator could fail. I just don't trust technology. Being a, you know, former tech auditor, I do not. It's not that I don't believe in technology, right? I'm talking to you through a freaking screen. I just don't trust technology to be there for you when you need it. So physical keys, in my personal opinion, are always better.
Come with me to see how Airbnb guests left the place after a 2-night stay. Let's see. All right, so they used the blanket, which is here, and they must have also used the pizza blanket, which I'll find in a second. They didn't want the chocolates, which that happens sometimes. Okay, so overall, looks good here. Can't really complain. Let's check the kitchen. Okay, so not too bad, not too bad. Looks like they didn't use the coffee. Oh, they did. Okay, they opened it. All right. And then let's check the trash. They didn't take the trash out, which I don't require the guests to, because I just use it when I'm cleaning. All the waters are gone. They were thirsty. Okay. Some toilet paper still here. Let's check the dishwasher. No dishes. Let's check the oven because one time I don't really think about checking the oven for some reason. I don't know why, but I remember one of the first guests, I just ended up opening the oven just cause to see if they used it. It was a mess. There was literally chicken wings hanging out in the oven. I was like, maybe I should start checking the oven each time the guests leave. Okay, left some trash in the trash can, and hopefully they didn't leave any items in the closet. Okay, all good. I'm always scared to check the bathroom. Dun, dun. They left some soap. Okay. I have a question for you. I literally leave 2 rolls of toilet paper in here for a 2-night stay, and which I personally think is more than enough. Toilet paper is always gone. 2 full rolls of toilet paper, 2-night stay, 2 people. Let me know what you think about that. Come with me to see how Airbnb guests left the place after a 2-night stay. Let's see. All right, okay. So they used the blanket. Which is here, and they must have also used the pizza blanket, which I'll find in a second.
Okay.
All right, first look, what do we think? Definitely could be more tidy.
So she ends up showing us other rooms, which was kept super clean. You know, aside that bed that you just saw that wasn't laid. And then at the end of the video, she was complaining of how the house could have been tidier, or that bed could have been tidier. Mind you, the people left that Airbnb cleaner than a lot of people's houses. I'm sorry, but why would anybody want to stay in an Airbnb over a hotel at this point in time? Even though you leave your Airbnb clean as fuck, they're still going to charge you a cleaning fee. He literally said, oh no, they used the blanket. Oh, what an inconvenience. At this point, it is so clear that Airbnb hosts do not understand that they're in a service industry. They always act like they're doing guests a favor. And this is not to say that you shouldn't take care of an Airbnb that you stay in. Every time I stay in an Airbnb, I always try my best to make sure it's clean. But damn, you cannot compare that to a hotel. We're like, bro, I'm not laying my bed. I'm not freaking sweeping. I'm not worried about all that shit. At the end of the day, staying in an Airbnb is just so inconvenient, bro. Why am I going on a vacation and I'm doing chores? She also goes on to complain that she left 2 toilet papers for these 2 guests for 2 days and it was already gone. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
It's toilet paper, babe. Like, provide toilet paper for your guests enough. Some people, you know, ate something that makes their tummy go a little funny, okay? And they needed to use the whole thing. It's fine. It's just toilet paper. You can buy more. That should be something that's in your budget. You can write it off on your taxes, you know, deduct that put it as your expense because it is truly an expense. Toilet paper is an expense for your Airbnb business. A lot of these things are an expense. The cleaners that you're going to hire, or maybe just the cleaning products that you're going to use. Could you imagine though, someone gets mad at you for using something that they provided within the Airbnb, such as a blanket, like, oh, get out of here. All right, so what do you think? Are these Airbnb hosts entitled? Are they absolutely delusional over how their guests left the place? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you dislike it, and I'll see you in the next one. But before you go, if you want to see more on unhinged Airbnb hosts, watch this video next.